right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. When you hear that Thomas Dolby song, Blinded Me with Science, on a Friday morning, it must mean that Jim George is somewhere in the area, and he is right here, right now. And he's going to kind of help us understand some of these things we've been hearing in the news this week between the mergers and the net neutrality laws. And there was even a story released just a half hour ago on this very topic. And so Jim's going to help us understand all of this. Good morning, Jim. And, of course, let me mention you are from American Cable Services, and you help us enable us to have entertainment in our homes. That's the best way to say that. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Good.
Can you hear yourself?
No.
Oh, the headphone's not working?
Oh, I can hear me now.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so many different things. But how you doing first?
Doing good.
How's your cold? You
yeah, I'm getting over it. You probably heard me hacking. I get whatever you and Robin had. It was contagious through the radio.
Well, you're in the studio then.
I got it. I don't know how I got it, but I got it.
So the Federal Communications Commission yesterday voted in favor of advancing the proposal we've been talking about to reshape the way we, as the average everyday citizen, use the internet. What does that mean for us? What's going on?
Well, they're trying to circumvent the cable companies from creating their own laws, internal memos, you might say, to keep certain people from delivering services to you. So in other words, Netflix was using so much bandwidth, people were downloading Netflix so much, that they threatened to cut Netflix off. So Netflix made a deal with them and paid them money. Then right after that, Google, with all their programs they have, the Hulus and that type of thing, the Rukus and the names you can't pronounce, they decided to sue. AT&T decided to sue, saying, no, you cannot block people from surfing the internet and having fast lanes and slow lanes like a highway. So what basically happened was the FCC was overruled by Congress, and Congress said, no, the laws that you created cannot be done that way. You don't have the legal authority in the way in which the mandate was written to do what you want to do. Now, you have the authority to do it if you write it differently, and that's what Tom Wheeler's trying to do. He's trying to rewrite it in such a way that the American cables of this world can give you IPTV in your home and not be blocked by a cable company. So what's happening now, as you heard from Comcast, they're saying, fine, what if that law gets written and we cannot block? Maybe what we should do instead is create a limit. How much can you download? So if they create a limit on how much you can download, and Bright House does this already, especially in New York, they have a limit to how much you can download.
Right.
Then they'll charge you more. So if they can't block me, they will just charge you more to watch me. So now if I offer a cheaper service, I offer a $20 service, and I heard last night, I know I'm rambling a little bit, I heard last night on CBS that the average customer pays $150 a month for a cable bill, and it will be up to $200 by the end of the year. And it also said...
That's crazy.
And it also said that the average homeowner they interviewed 100,000 homeowners. And when you add up all the channels that are watched, there are 17 channels that are watched.
That makes sense.
So you pay for 250, America's top 250 with Dish, and you watch 17.
Oh, wow.
And then you pay $159 for the privilege of not watching the other 100 and whatever it is, 120 of them, 130 of them. So like we said earlier, why not just pay for the ones you want? So what net neutrality is trying to do, get back full circle, is to make it that the government will tell the cable companies you cannot throttle or prohibit an online service from entering a customer that you deliver internet to. That's what they're trying to do. It just doesn't sound that way when you read the proposals. It sounds like they're messing up. So, but the Senate will correct that when it finally comes to a bill.
Hopefully, yeah. And hopefully it'll be a straightforward bill and not something with a lot of other additional things that may or may not even have anything to do with the internet.
Right, all the pork bellies you talk about all
Yeah.
the time, where
Yeah.
they'll throw this in and throw
Well,
that
not just
in.
us. Everybody talks about these things. And then how can we have a government? Well, this is not what your show's about. But just to finish my sentence, how can we have a government that allows that to happen? You know.
Right. Well, it was a government program. Internet was always government. It was the universities designed the internet and put it together, and then when they found something better than the internet, in other words, they have an internet that's like 100 times faster than what you and I could ever hope to achieve using our internet connectivity.
Right.
They turned that grid over to another government called ARVIN, A-R-V-I-N. And what that is, that's a government agency that now doles out IP addresses. You buy them in blocks. You can buy 250 IP addresses for like 50 cents a month.
But you know what this sounds like to me, and we do have a call, so just hang in there just a second, caller. I just want to say something. What it sounds like to me is that it is similar to the iPads and the Kindles versus the laptops and the desktop computers. There's so much power, I guess, at our disposal, so much memory with a desktop, and most of us don't even need it.
Exactly.
You know? So the same thing with the amount of information we can get off the internet. Most of us, we want to send pictures, we want to watch movies. Thank you, Joe. We want to.
Service with a smile.
Nobody knows what's going on here. He's been pretty. Thank you.
Pouring coffee. All right.
But anyway, you know what I mean? It's like the average person really doesn't need a whole lot.
Right.
Now, here in the radio station, we do.
Yes.
We will need a lot. You in your job, you will need a lot.
Yeah.
Just as in a job like a recording studio, you will need a desktop computer.
Exactly.
But the average person won't really need it anymore.
Right.
So that's I just want to say that.
Yeah.
All right, and we do have a phone call. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for waiting. And you're on the air with Jim George.
Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning.
Again. I am basically electronically challenged. And saying that, I would like to know, with everything that's coming down the pike, now you can get the internet and you can use the internet, especially the providers want this bundled business. So you can get the internet to provide you with your whatever services you want for your computer. Then you get your TV. Then you can get your iPhone or whatever phone you have, and that'll show up on your TV that so-and-so is calling you. And then we have, like you said, the photographs and everything else. So they're designing this stuff which all uses more space. I don't know whether it's bandwidth or what. And it seems like the earlier internet services were a lot slower and everything else, and people live with it. Today, you can't. You turn the computer on, and you want to see things happen right away on the screen. You want to hit something up, and I just want to look at something on a car, and I get a little frustrated when it takes a little while for it to show up. But the point of the matter is there's more and more stuff being tied to the internet service, i.e. your alarm system. You can actually go around and have lock your doors and everything by using your iPhone, and all this is all based on a provider coming in with this particular bundled service. And yet they're going to turn around and limit the amount of gigabytes or whatever it is a person can use. But I find on my computer that I'm pretty close to being maxed out. But that's only because I got a lot of stuff in there that I save, and then there's a lot of other things that I do. And the other day I had to have somebody help me out, and they actually found out that I was duplicating a lot of files. So they actually were able to free up quite a bit of space for me. And to me, this is just another gimmick where people can wind up charging you money just because they're in the position to tap your wallet, so to speak, and they're not really providing anything that you're not already getting. I'm just wondering what you think about that. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you hit it on the head. It's all about the money. Every company there is trying to figure out a way to increase their bottom line, and I mean, you can only let so many employees go. You can only, turn the lights off at certain times. There's only certain things you can do. So you have to have more income. So this is just another way to garner income. Now, will they lose subscribers over it? They'll lose some subscribers over it. I was talking to a cable person about 10 years ago, and they had 10,000 subscribers. And these 10,000 subscribers, their average income was only like the cable company made an average of like $30 per person. They right away doubled it. They said, if you want to watch the same channels, it's now $60. Did that overnight. They lost 50% of their customers and went down to 5,000 customers instead of 10,000. But they kept the same amount of cash.
Sure
All right.
did. Yeah.
Now, by keeping the same amount of cash, that means they could let a truck go. They could let an employee go. So, in essence, they did make money. And now that it was $60, little by little by little, more people came back on because they had to have the internet, they had to have the telephone, they had to have the TV. And within 2 years, they worked themselves back up to 7,000. So, in day one, they cut overhead immediately by letting a truck not roll, insurance not on it, employee not roll. And in 2 years, then added another 2,000 subscribers at $60. So there's going to be some backlash, but it's not the kind of backlash I think that would hurt them in the long run. It would just hurt them in the short run.
And that sounds absolutely the way it's going to be. You raise the price, people will leave, and then they'll come back.
Yeah, they're going to come back. It's going to happen all the time. They're not going to have a choice to make. I mean, and then you have the people that were on Comcast, and they didn't pay their last bill, let's say. So they left Comcast and went to Bright House. And then when they left Bright House, they may have called me or called something. And after a while, there is a pool of names of what we call deadbeaters. And they just don't pay their bills, and after a while, there's no place to go.
So, do you face resistance from the FCC or anybody regarding the fact that you sell a la carte services?
Not yet, but we will be facing that. One thing we have to do is there's a special right to do what we do, and it's called retransmission fees. So we not only have to have permission from WOCA to carry their service, but we have to have a contract that says we are allowed to retransmit their service.
And you have to get that with everybody you do that with.
Everybody. So. And
will some of the popular ones hold out, like NBC and those?
They will. All the networks so far have held out. Except,
they are?
Yeah.
So if I wanted a la carte through American Cable Services, I could not get the major ones?
Oh, you'll get the major ones. You're not getting them right now. Right now we have about 80 channels that have said yes, and but NBCU, which is MSNBC, NBC Sports, NBC Universal, they are coming around. Matter of fact, they sent us a copy of their contract, along with about 50 questions. How do we plan to handle security so people can't steal the service, blah, blah. And we filled all that out. So we think within 60 days we'll have NBC. Well, the last holdout will actually be ABC.
Why is that?
Because ABC is Disney and ESPN.
Oh.
And ESPN's the big 800-pound gorilla in the room. They charge, if a person right now wanted ESPN a la carte, it would cost me about $9 just to buy that, to sell it to you for like $15, let's say. And now there'll be people who only want ESPN, and they'll be glad to pay $15 because that's 6 channels of ESPN. But what you would get with it is ABC and Disney, because Disney owns those channels.
So the whole idea of this future vision that we have these little tablets that we carry with us, and you literally could tune into anything, anytime.
Right.
That's still possible.
Oh, yes.
But what it sounds like is it's not going to be cheap.
Well, see, what Sonny was alluding a little bit to was called TV Everywhere, and it's also called multi-screen. So if you are a subscriber to Comcast right now and you pay for ESPN, they'll let you stream ESPN to your tablet, to your cell phone, wherever, because you're already paying for it.
Right,
it's just a different way of multi-screen on another screen,
Right.
or on a TV Everywhere. But if you wanted it without being a subscriber, that's where the a la carte comes in, where you're not paying for it, let's say, in a bundle. You're paying for it by itself.
So okay, what I guess I'm stuck on is when Netflix, is that what it's called?
Yes, Netflix.
When Netflix is brought up, the way I understand Netflix, I used to be a subscriber, but not anymore. And they would send me the wrong CDs sometimes. I guess now they don't even use CDs.
Right
and
now,
DVD.
it's all online. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I wasn't sure. But anyway, so I always had to pay for that. So if I'm paying for it to be streaming to me online, aren't I already paying extra for it? Why would I pay more than that? I don't
Well,
know.
Netflix is not necessarily a channel. It's more like in other words, it's not live. It's canned, and you're familiar with canned. So it's programs that have already run last month. In other words, if you want to watch all the episodes of Steinfeld, you can. But if there was a live program on tonight, Netflix wouldn't have it.
Oh, would anybody?
Only the cable companies would have it.
Okay.
And that's where the a la carte comes in. Once it's allowed for us to carry that, because that's what we are. We're live streaming. You can go to Hulu for your can. You can go to Netflix. But to get live TV, which is what cable TV is, right now you either get it through a coax going to your house, or you get it through the phone company coming to your house, or in our case, you're going to get it through the internet coming to your house.
Which I would think that news and sports would be the two things that you would want right away, right? Hey, right? News and sports.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, you wouldn't want a sports game that was old.
No. Well, some people do. As a matter of fact, the Appalachian State University has videoed literally every wrestling match, every football game, everything Appalachian State University has ever done, they have it videoed. And we're talking to them about, since most of it's already digitized in a server, if we could make access to that server, if you were a graduate of Appalachian State University 20 years ago, and now you have grandchildren, because your son Alex, right, is married, then you could sit down with your grandchild and say, hey, here's the 1975 game that I was in.
And he'd be so bored. He was, oh, she's...
Yeah. Oh, there's Grandpa. Yeah.
Oh, if somebody you knew was in it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I have a question. If there is reluctance to allow us to have a la carte, and there's also a big resistance on the part of the consumer to not buy 250 channels that you're not going to watch, is the compromise possibly where I buy a package of a la carte? In other words, I say, I don't want your one size fits all. I want to. It's like getting a dozen donuts. I want one of these, one of those, and I got to get a dozen. And I can't just get one. I got to get at least a dozen.
Right.
Is that the compromise?
It is. We've talked about 5 from column A or 10 from column B. In other words, let's say column A has channels that cost $1, but channel B has channels that only cost 50 cents. So the compromise would be we would sell you 12 channels for the same price in column B, or 6 channels, for the same price on column A. Or you can mix and match. In other words, you choose your own. It's really an a la carte. You're choosing channel by channel, but it adds up to be a bundle.
Do you know, I have another question, and this is more of a legal question. Let's say I'm paying for Wi-Fi. Let's say I'm paying for Wi-Fi, which I am.
Yeah.
I pay for Wi-Fi. You could pick up my Wi-Fi in Doug's house next door.
Right.
Which he does.
Right.
So, and I don't see that that's illegal. I don't have any.
It would be illegal if you sold it.
Oh, okay.
It's not illegal if he picks it up.
Okay. So would there be anything making it illegal to do that with a TV? Like, let's say my cable comes to my house and I say, here, just attach a cable. We'll bury it under the ground. We'll attach our 2 houses as if they're one. if I pay for cable and he's benefiting from it, I'm not selling it to him.
Right.
But he's hooked up as if he was another room in my house.
Right.
Would that be illegal?
It would be technically illegal, but they would let you do it because it could be where you had a detached grandma suite. You know how sometimes there's a patio between
right.
your house and the grandma's house?
Right.
And you're still feeding. That's still on your property, or in this case, still in your, general domain.
My neighborhood.
Yeah, but you're not connecting homes to it, and you're not gaining from it. You're strictly, helping him. Legally, it's illegal. But can you do it? Yes, everybody does it in the sense of the Wi-Fi. On the TV, though, you have to understand that more and more cable companies are getting away from analog, and that will be digital. The only way you can watch the digital is with the box. So although you may give him a line from your house to your house, it wouldn't work until he puts a box on.
Do you know what's amazing? That you can call up tech support, and they can tell you how, and I'm sure you know this, so I'm not telling you anything. I mean, they can tell you how many megabyte, whatever, is reaching your house right now.
All right.
The electric company can do that. They can tell me how many volts are coming to my house right now.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
Which means they can turn off my electricity without coming to my house, right?
So they have smart meters. Smart meters, and they have them wireless, and they also have them where it works on the internet. So the city of Ocala, one of the reasons why they built their fiber optic system was to read the electric meters.
Well, as a matter of fact, my electricity went out the other day, and I figured my neighborhood went out.
Right.
But I called the city of Ocala anyway, just to be sure, and it turned out it was just me. And the guy said, "Well, you got enough voltage, get into your meter. Go outside and see if the breaker was tripped," and it sure enough was. Mm-hmm. But I was amazed that he could tell me on the phone right away that I had electricity coming to my meter.
Yeah, you have a smart meter on your house. Yep.
Yeah, it's about the only thing smart I have, I think.
And that's called Ethernet over power lines. So the power lines themselves have internet induced on them.
Wow.
So he can talk to your meter. Isn't that great?
Have you ever seen that ad where the guy is on the beach and he says, "Oh my goodness, did I lock the Impala," or something like that? Have you ever seen that?
Yep.
And he goes onto a smartphone and it's sure enough, it says your car is unlocked, so then he locks it and then it says vehicle locked. I've often wondered what happens if you do that right as the thief is taking it away. I mean, you feel safe, but the car is still gone, right?
Well, I tell you, I had my windows partly down a couple of days ago, and for some reason, I don't know, I have two sets of keys, and one was for the building and one was for the car, and I grabbed the building keys and left the car keys in the car, which I never do.
Oh, no.
And I locked the car from the inside, pushed the button to lock, got out and closed the door. So I have these long sticks that I use for pulling cable. I said, well, no big deal. The window's half down or partially down.
Yeah.
I'll just run the stick through there and hit the button to unlock it. Would not unlock. I went around to the other window and hit the unlock button. It would not unlock. So on the Tahoes, if you lock it from the inside, it is locked. The only way you can get it is to have a key. So since I had these long sticks, I saw where my keys were sitting on my console, ran the long stick through the little loop on the key, and then lowered my end down lower than the key handle and slid the keys all the way up to the window, grabbed them, and unlocked the car. But I would have never known that. So I looked in the manual that night, and it said, sure enough, if locked from the inside and then you exit the car and lock it, the only way it could be unlocked, because they know there's nobody inside, you wouldn't have locked it with people in the car. And if you do lock it with people in the car, and let's say you are getting out and Doug did not get out in time, and he opens the door, the alarm goes off.
But still, you couldn't even open it.
Well, I couldn't open by pushing the button, but if Doug were to physically slide the lock over and open the door, the alarm goes off.
Oh, my goodness.
That's unbelievable. But that's computers. They're killing us.
Jim, what is your number? We got 10 seconds.
Certainly, 854-9795.
Oh, my goodness. That was a great conversation right there. All right, Jim, thank you so much. If you missed any of that, it'll be up as a video on YouTube and on Facebook by 2. Thank you, Jim.
Good. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The owner of the LA Clippers may not be giving up his franchise without a fight.
Sports Illustrated and ESPN among those reporting that Clippers owner Donald Sterling has sent a letter to the NBA telling the league he will